And in this week's Torah portion, we see, as we're in this prophetic month of Elul, and this is really a time of deep introspection where we seek to prepare our hearts for our coming King and our bridegroom. There appears this curious command in Deuteronomy chapter 17. And the commandment was for the king of Israel, Melech Israel, to write for himself a personal copy of the Torah or the Sefer Torah. The king himself was to write his own copy of the Torah, which is really an incredible undertaking. Now, contrary to the teachings of many Bible scholars today, this is the beginning of scribal tradition in Israel with Moses himself. And this is an evidence right here from the scripture. Many scholars believe that the scribal tradition began during the Babylonian captivity and with Ezra and Nehemiah. But this powerful fact, I'm going to elaborate a little bit further, that the scribal process actually begins with Moses and is passed down Mador Lador from generation to generation. And it's one of the reasons why we have this incredible confidence in the scriptures themselves, in the Torah itself, because God, starting with Moses, passed the word to Moses, came from him to Moses, and then from generation to generation, it's been stewarded, but not just in the hands of scribes, but in the kings of Israel themselves. But an interesting thing to note here is that the provision or command given by God to Moses to have the king write his own Torah comes almost 500 years before the first king of Israel appears. Because till we have King Saul, we have judges in Israel. But God knows that there's a future time coming when Israel will have kings, just as the other nations. But different from the kings of the other nations, these kings will be subject to the law of God, the Torah of God. Not above it, but subject to it like everybody else. That's nearly a half of millennia that would pass from the time of the judges of Israel would end till they had the first king. This curious provision was in effect already. This is a point worthy for us to pause and really ponder upon. You see, I think it wasn't just merely a curious future provision for the future kings of Israel, but rather it was a subtle yet powerful messianic foreshadowing of the Messiah of Israel. You see, the Messiah of Israel is the King of Israel. And the person who would copy a scroll from generation to generation was called a sofer, or a scribe. And he would meticulously copy the Torah. But our King, Yeshua, he's not just somebody who's copying it. He is the actual author of the Torah, and he's the Word, the Torah, incarnate, as we know from Scripture. See, from Scripture we glean several unique roles that had to be fulfilled by the coming Mashiach, or the Messiah of Israel. He was a prophet. He was not only the capstone of all the prophets, but he was the subject of all the prophets who came before him. He was a priest. He was a great high priest, or Kohen Hagadol, in the order of Melchizedek, the high priest and king of Salem or Jerusalem. And he was the king, Melech Israel, the true king of Israel. But another title here, beyond prophet, priest, and king, is that he's a sofer. He is the author of the Torah.